Did it work, Fred? You have to go over the file.
So you have for 2 weeks, not a lot of trips and wait for the school to start.
We got a long drive yet. Yeah, take the camper down. Doesn't put oil and gas yet for a while.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna take that.
Big trip plan, do you?
Yeah, I go down to Lake Kookanusa, just on the Montana side.
In order at 6:01.
Sorry.
Everyone has had a chance to look at the agenda. Any questions? Motion to drop the agenda is presented.
Yeah.
Council Olson, all in favor? Carried. Delegations. Seeing none. Public presentations. I just wanted to go over what a public presentation shall look like and will look like. 3.62 of town bylaw 10/15/2021. The agenda of a regular council meeting shall contain a public presentation session after the adoption of the agenda. The public presentation session shall be no longer than 15 minutes in length, allowing for no more than 5 minutes per speaker. The public will be encouraged to register for this session, but walk-in presentators will be allowed to speak if the allotted time period has not been exhausted by registered presenters. Public presenters will not be allowed to discuss issues that are before subdivision, development permits, assessment review board, or any issues currently being dealt with a statutory public hearing. So I want to clarify, in my mind, a public presentation is a presentation. It's not a question and answer period. So going forward, we're going to use it as a presentation. If there's anything that comes out of that presentation, we'll deal with it later in council or at a later date. Just to clarify that. Everybody good with that? Yeah. Okay. Adoption of the minutes, regular council meeting. Has everybody got a chance to look at them, go over them? Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, motion to accept. Councilor Thorough, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Sandra. Minutes of the information meeting from July 26, 2023. Did everybody have a chance to look? Okay, all in favor, Sandra, Councilor Murphy. All in favor? Carried. I'd like to apologize about that. All hell broke loose at work. But it was interesting to watch the meeting from a non-participant. That's kind of why the public presentation thing kind of come to the forefront. When you're here, you don't realize necessarily how, I'm going to say, out of hand it can get. But having watched, I watched it 3 times, and was very trying. Let's leave it at that. So yeah, thank you guys for covering that for me. So financial reports. House table. Any questions?
Mr. Neal, I did have one, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, check. You betcha.
There's a lot of refunds. Was there a program that was canceled?
I can speak to that with the funeral. We shut the pool down for an afternoon.
So you've reimbursed anybody? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there was certainly a
a much more higher number of refunds than normal. So, yeah, but that's what the mayor said. We weren't able to offer some lessons and it was gonna be hard to get that extra lesson fit in. So we just, we just refunded them if it was a 5-day lesson, 20%. So.
Thank you.
And everyone was very good. Everyone was very understanding. They understood the situation and so there was nobody that was unhappy about that. So.
Any others? Counselor Crowell, you got your goals in there pretty hard. Did you find something? No. Okay. Statement of review, motion to accept accounts payable listing for general accounts check number 42734 to 42782 and direct deposit 002244 to 02316 for information. Counselor Crowell, which is the punch. Good. Statement of revenue and expense.
Oh. I have a
Counselor
question.
Bowden.
This is under revenue, page 2. At the bottom, the recreational federal conditional grant. Quite considerably more than what was budgeted for, so that was nice to see.
Well,
Or is that?
it's basically is deferred revenue. So
Oh,
we didn't get any more than we thought we were gonna get. It's just the way it got placed by
okay,
the auditors.
okay. I also have, can I go on to expenses?
Sure.
On page 4. Administrative other, and I probably know the answer to this. And so it's 212000990.
Yeah.
For 120,000. That's considerably more as well due to grants.
No, so this is an expense and I think council will remember back a few months ago when we brought to council the surplus money we had in our benefit account was 120,000.
Okay,
So we had to, we brought it in and you'll see under general administration, admin other revenue. We've got the revenue there from the check coming in from RAM, but we had to expense it somewhere. So we
Okay.
expensed it to admin other. So
yeah, and that's what I kind of meant with grants, is that it's kind of a holding into process.
yeah, that was just, we had to put it in and we had to put it out. So
Recreation advertising, page 9. That's 220. Just quite a bit more than what had been budgeted for, but is that due to the changes in, I guess. in
no,
what the advertising-
maybe a little bit, but one of the things we do that we may have to do is reallocate advertising. So we generally put it in, especially if it was a newspaper, whatever, we always put it in recreation. And then we would journal entry out to the other various departments a certain percentage. Because we don't track in our advertising, whether community services use it 40% or 60%. We've got an internal number that we use, but so we have to journal entry and move those
Okay.
costs around.
Okay. Yeah, and that's, let me see.
Excuse me. But the other thing too,
Is
there,
that it's done at the end of the year.
it's a little higher too, Councillor Bowden, just so as we talk, and we'll talk more in the advertising plan. So when we lost the Herald, we did take out an ad in the ECA review, but we also did the mail drop. So that
Right.
basically doubled.
That's what I was
that
kind of
amount
wondering,
too,
yeah,
so.
due to the new process of
Yeah.
of advertising.
Yeah.
Full goods. 500, same page, about 23,000 more than budgeted, just.
No, there's a change that has to be made there. So we've coded chemicals there.
Oh, okay,
So I do have that number here too as a change we need to make, but there is $19,000 in chemicals that need to be removed from cool goods and
Oh, I
put
see.
into chemicals.
okay, I see, thank you, it just seemed
Yeah, no, it does.
considerably.
Yeah,
And I just was wondering if there was a breakdown or something.
No. No,
And then also, for the arena, same page, 232, contracted services, was 17,000, so 12,000 more.
so that one's a little different in the fact that, we got approved for a grant through, FCM to do, metering analysis of the electricity in the building. So it's one of those where we pay first and get claim.
Yeah,
And we didn't have this as part of the budget because we hadn't had the grant approved, so we just recently submitted a check for about 15,000 to the company so they could order the panels and the stuff they need to make this sub metering project work, so.
okay, so your money has to go in first
Yeah.
before the grant.
Yeah, so it's but you're right, it does stand out, yeah,
Okay. And that was all I had.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
no problem.
Any other questions? Motion to accept statement of revenue and expenses for July 2023 for information, Councilor Golden. All in favor? Carried. Let's go with you.
It's sure nice having the actual before the budget.
Okay,
So I don't
no, whatever reads best is important.
It's funny, you get used to a certain format and then you
Yeah.
switch your brain to something
Which are
different.
like.
Any questions, concerns?
Just going to ask, what our water consumption, the way things are going, has our town water consumption really went up? That we're exceeding almost what we're bringing in.
No, so, you mean revenue wise?
Yeah.
Counselor? No, so it's an in and an out, so whatever we meter and use through Henry Kruger, we pay, so the more consumption means we pay Henry Kruger more, but we bill out.
Oh, okay. It's not that we pay it.
No,
Yeah. On that note of water consumption, I had a ratepayer actually come to me and asked if there was any consideration given to some free water for beautification. And so I thought about it, because my wife is one of the ones that waters the crap out of her lawn. So originally I thought we could look at something like maybe we give you 5 free cubes, and I went, well, that kind of defeats the purpose, because if we give everybody 5 free cubes of water, then we're definitely not good. So my thought went to, if you're over 20 cubic meters, so the 20 to 25 cubic meters could be at a discounted rate for beautification. For the town, like our own properties, and just an idea, I looked at a couple of other communities, and Oil Point had a program similar to that. That was one that I could get into easily, and just for people that want to be on their lawns and stuff. And I mean, it's expensive to water your lawn, so just a thought, something you guys can think about for next year. It's a comfortable.
Yeah, I just have a question. If we're in a drought situation, should there not be more of a restriction as to the amount of watering, things of that nature, aside from necessities such as gardens and gardens?
well, I don't,
We're not in a drought.
Which areas was designated a drought
Yeah, well,
for insurance?
Henry
purposes and
Kruger,
stuff?
I'm on the regular municipal users group, so basically. As it sits right now, we could have 2 more years back to back based on the studies, and we still have enough water. We're not sure.
But you see Fox or the CN Dam, just about touching bottom,
We
and
don't use water from CM down.
no, I know that, but just the fact of the availability of water to sort of plan ahead so that we're mindful of the potential for being a problem the next year. you know, it just sort of, I think Fox Lake is a little bit down. too,
Oh,
so-
definitely,
Oh,
definitely,
probably 6 feet.
Yeah,
definitely. All the three close to town, the CN, the Helmer and Fox Lake are all down, you know, all down significantly and I know Fox Lake has been dry before, but it is down significantly. I guess my comment to that and maybe to tie on to what the mayor said, so as a water commission, they have lots of water. They have lots of water at their availability. And if you talk to the water commission, they would like to see people use water.
oh,
Because,
sure. then
because,
they-
because,
they get money for
but
it.
in their formula that they come up with the $3 per capita, they have a $3 per cubic meter. They have a portion of that is capital. So that's, the more water that's used, the more capital they can set aside for future upgrades. It was always a bit of a hard sell when the communities in bloom judges would come by, because they're looking for conservation, they're looking for that, and Kickars like, no, we want people to use water, we want to use as much water as we can, but optics wise, it probably doesn't look
That's
good.
pretty bad, yeah.
And we're a big user of that water as well, when we, on our irrigated fields.
Mhm.
It doesn't take much and you've got a big bill for keeping the ball diamonds green and the soccer fields green, so.
And I'm gonna ask this question, golf course, do they draw from CN?
They were drawing from Sienna and they do draw from Sienna. I think Councillor Holson can probably share a little more info.
Yeah, there's some, and he's got a level where he's, you know, uncomfortable drawing from, of course.
Yeah.
They've since got a pipeline laid there that goes across the back for just plain raw water that their cruiser can turn on and pump to them. And then they can use them to collect that. It's not treated water. It's just raw water that comes through as a contingency.
Yeah, I just, this morning saw two guys looking at the, whatever the transfer thing is on.
The
Yeah,
pump down
on
there.
that, by the bridge there, and sort of assumed that they were golf people, so.
Yeah, there's that big pump right there the golf course does use.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess that's a concern that, you know, there will probably never ever be fish in there because you can't guarantee a certain level. And especially if it's being drawn for outside purposes as well. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Motion council accepts the budget overview for the July 2023 for information. Council Murphy, all in favor? There you go. Senior administrative officials report.
Mr. Mayor, just want to talk about a couple of things, just in if there's any questions. So you do have my report that Apex Utilities is starting the project, so we met with them last week. Little bit behind the ball, they are, I believe, but I think we're on track. I was a little worried that when they were starting their project, when they called the meeting on the 3rd and said they were starting the project on the 8th, that we were gonna be too far behind letting our residents know, but the first month or the first phase of the project is just recon. So they're just going in, hydrovacing down, seeing what the issue is, recording it, covering the hole, moving on, and then they'll form their form of attack from there. They think that'll take a month, so they shouldn't be, they appeared to be very accommodating when we met with them. You know, in terms of if someone was coming down the alley, they were behind somebody's garage and they needed to get their car out, they seemed to be very accommodating, that they would move, put a steel plate over the hole and let people get in and get out and not to hold them up at all. So hopefully that's the way it goes. Once they know what their plan of attack will be, whether they're just gonna have to replace the valves, or they said if there's a number of valves along the block that need more than 5, I think, then they probably replace the whole main. So they're just trying to figure out their plan of attack right now, but so it's ongoing. They were supposed to be out today. Wasn't out. Did you see some out today? Well, you might be in one of the first areas there. Did they leave a note on your door?
Yeah.
Okay, they were supposed to, so. Okay, the second thing I wanted to just touch base on is Alberta Municipalities Conference. So Councillor Thurl has indicated he's planning to attend. I just wanted to know if you guys knew.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle
Oh, what was the attendance?
and
Hi.
Steve. Fred, do you know yet? Or,
I'll let you know in the morning. How's that?
oh, yeah, that's fine. I just, if we know by, if we can register by the 18th, we save a little bit of money. So, Mr. Mayor, okay. Okay, no, thank you. I will register you for sure and then let me know.
Looking forward to visiting with McIver.
Let me know when you know, so. Other than that, I think everything's going along fairly well. Summer's coming to an end. I just was looking, we're 3 weeks and the pool's closed, so. Another summer came and went fast. Just, and it's in here, but Reality Bites has submitted their termination, so. You know, my initial thought went to, and I know I've got a couple of chamber members in here, that might be a good spot, but something we can look at here at the end of September, early October. As far as I know, we haven't had any interest on our the hub building. But
Got $50 for the
50 bucks.
SPCA, buddy.
so I just wanted to let you know it will be available, and we'll, you know, council can make a decision at that time about chambers interested or not, so.
Will it be listed in, like, or we put
Which,
in
which,
that
yeah,
spot?
well, I will probably want to have that discussion with council. If the chamber is going to be wanting to move in there and have priority, there's no use advertising.
Yeah.
The only downfall with it is the chamber doesn't pay very much. And you know, would we want to have the chamber in at that rate versus potentially opening it up and having a larger dollar value come to us? So
I think what we could do is we have the chamber where they're at right now.
Yeah.
What we could do is make it available, and if we don't get any bites on it, then logically. Move it down.
yeah, the challenge with this building is it's all under 1 meter, so we just charge a flat fee, includes utilities, both water and power, gas. Well, there's no gas, but heat and electricity. So generally, it's going to cost us close to the same regardless. We might be able to obviously turn the temperature down over there, and there won't be any water use, or there'll be reduced lights use. But
You did some renovations or, well, there were some
they
renovations.
were done by Reality Bites too. So
So what do they have in there now? I know they have the open space.
yeah,
Do they, how many offices do they have?
I think there's 2,
And the washroom?
and there's a male and female washroom. There's 2 washrooms. Yeah. So yeah, we can kind of see where that ends up, but that could be something we could advertise for if anybody's interested in space. So
Should have picked me. I
yeah.
still have everything I own. My brain is going, by the way, Mr. Neal, my little hamster's going, woo,
Okay.
it's good space.
Okay.
It's good
So I
space.
think that's it. I did from my report. Michelle had put in her report just something as a,
Just one thing on yours. Have
Okay,
we heard of my culvert idea or anything?
well, they're gonna look at that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm not gonna let it go.
No, I told them that they want to see pros and cons. So,
Every time I drive there, I think of your culvert idea. I think it's a good idea. So,
under the Michelle's report, so she talks about food security and the fact that we were able to, during COVID, we got some food security dollars. And basically, by the end of this year, we figure we'll be out of those food security dollars. So we basically have people like AHS with addictions, mental health, Links, Healthy Families, McMahon, and Project Reach. Basically, will provide them to some of their clients or customers if they're struggling with food. So it's just, she just wanted to put that in your in your mind as we move forward into the budget, that those dollars are gone, whether council will want to allocate some funds to keep that program going. So she wanted to mention that. Michelle did have an opportunity to travel to Edmonton. The federal government just gave Drive Happiness, I think it was $500,000 to expand their rural program and their capacity in rural Alberta. So Michelle was up there and provided some feedback from us on what may make it work better. We're struggling, to be honest, with volunteer drivers. Although I believe we have one more in the queue coming on, so that'll certainly might help the numbers. But again, we're not getting a huge demand for it either, as you can see from the stats. So other than that, everything, like I said, music in the park's coming to an end, ethics coming to an end. Youth Club did postpone their fall fair, or their youth team fair, fall fair, team fair. Just didn't have enough vendors and community members willing to step up and take on some events. So they just had a meeting last week and made that decision. At the September meeting, they're going to talk about looking at a new date in 2024. So, and I think that's it for me. If you have any questions on anything.
Can I just go back
Yeah.
to your presentation? Just for anybody who is watching, I would just like to bring forward regarding the signage that administration has approached a local sign company to provide a quote and graphic design for the electronic sign at the west entrance created. The graphic will be in reference to the home of Nickelback. And I think that is very important, and that was something that had been discussed with council prior to that. So comments regarding the fact that the town does not support Nickelback is wrong, because it had been in the works after the signs, when the signs were removed. So I just wanted to bring that to the public's attention, that this has been done way before anybody was asking or anything else. That council and administration was very mindful of home of Nickelback. So I just wanted to thank you for doing that and bring it to people's attention.
I think the mayor's trying to bring it to people's attention, but
I just did another interview today with the Associated Press that he reassured me that after CBC kind of beat me up a little bit, that this would be far more favorable. I was on 66 CFR today 4 or 5 different times. I guess I've had people told you on the radio. So yeah, I've been reiterating that that's the plan. Also the fact that we're going to do the other album cover and just CBC CBC's headline was correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, Hanna reconsiders taking down the sign, changing the signs or
I can't remember what.
rethink, but it was basically not very flattering. But yeah, at no point in time was there anything against it or not. So
I saw one that said that the town of Hanna drops or doesn't support or doesn't think highly of Nickelback or something,
no, and
which was completely out of whack, something along that line.
yeah, no, like I said, I did an interview with CBC on the radio, and I did another interview with CBC for their media. And then today I did post media, and like I said, I guess I was on the radio, I didn't get it myself, so. But yeah, no, it's, well, I'm just banging away.
Good, good. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that the part of the deficiencies will be including changing the public library sign to municipal library. It's what the board wants.
Okay, I'll just, we can get that changed,
We'll
Councilor
talk
Murphy,
about
but
that.
it's not a deficiency. Because that's what.
It's a
we were
decision
told.
I made. Okay,
that
so I can
we
toss
gave them that
the
name.
word deficiency.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
So if we change it, it will be at our dime, but we can change it on our dime. But it's, it wasn't anything to do with deficiencies. That's the name of the building they were given, and that was the proof that was signed off on.
So you're just talking about, like you said, bolts and nuts
Scratches
and
and
scratches.
bolts and nuts, And there's more than you think.
Yeah, surprisingly.
But until you get up close and you can see, I think they indicated there was 3 panels that they would be replacing new. So, and others they'll try and touch up with vinyl, or it'll be, whether it's a button, nut or a bolt that has to be tightened, so. But yeah, that's all still on their dime, so.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Armstrong, Director of Business Communication.
I can just expand on that a little bit if I may.
Mhm.
When going through the signage and reviewing and looking at the names, many communities point to their public library. And the terminology municipal library indicated to me, and this is the first one, is that I made that decision, that it's somehow available. That it's not necessarily a public library. I felt the wording wasn't as friendly as maybe it could have been. I did not realize, because it is a town facility and it falls under the town, that the library wanted 100% control over that name, and felt that we've been promoting that as public library in other areas, that it was a very safe choice and decision. So, yeah, I'd be happy to come. I probably need to come and talk to the board again anyways, because we need to move on that email decision. It's gone on far too long, but we can talk about that as well.
It's just every meeting I'm being bombarded.
Oh, well, you should have spoken to me before I could have come later. I'll take ownership on
The
that
last
decision
couple of
and the reasons
months,
why.
it was in your best interest not to attend a board meeting. Thank you so much.
So on that note, Kim already reported on a couple of the things. Hopefully I'll be able to round up the security. Just kind of provided a bit of a terrifying statistic to you in terms of our email accounts, my email account, email accounts, 9,000 attempts from foreign. Yeah, so what we're doing with our, firewalls, our antivirus and the credentials for our emails, and making sure people log out, and mobile devices and everything that we're doing, and preaching to staff and elected officials so far is working, but I just really need to reiterate how important it is that we all continue to follow those processes. And I encourage you to review the package that you were given when you were first elected. That will go through a little bit of that and the reasons why. And then we'll be continuing on with the cybersecurity. The cybersecurity is set up so that each staff person has a individual that they would report to, and it would be the same with the elected officials. And if that is not completed within the time frame that it's expected, an email goes to that manager, for lack of a better word. So that happens with you guys as well. If it's a staff person, we just kind of treat everybody the same. If it's a staff person and they're consistently not doing the training, we'll suspend their account.
I get really big in slack off lately. I'm sorry. No,
They haven't been going out lately. It's
No.
kind of taken a bit of a hiatus, but we'll be ramping it up.
But actually, on that note, those, and I'm gonna use this term, silly little courses are actually really good. It's made me aware of some of the things that normally you wouldn't consider. So now quite often I'll take a picture of something and send it going, is this legit? No, perfect. It's like that, so.
But you've got, you look at Lori's, what was it, 9,000?
9,200.
That's probably, mine's probably the same,
My print shop was the same.
probably everybody's
Terrifying.
probably the same.
Yeah.
Those are attempts that aren't even getting to our computer. They're
Yeah.
stop there. You
Then
still
we
will get
some in
some,
our inboxes.
you still will get some through that are phishing and not legitimate that, yeah.
But these are just logins, those aren't emails.
Oh, are they just
Yeah.
logins?
Yeah, this is people trying Lori's login
Like, trying to
and
guess my
attempting her
password.
password.
Oh, okay.
So emails, yeah,
Not good one.
that'd be an interesting number for next.
I follow the rules.
So 9,200 in 24-hour period.
This was in a month,
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
month. Oh,
for the
okay.
month of July.
Okay, so
9,200 in the month of July, so about 450
A
attempts
day.
every workday. Somebody tried to log in using my credentials.
Using your email.
Using my L Armstrong, yes.
You imagine. Special paying job.
These are.
It's all paying, but I mean,
Paying you.
productive, you know, just assign
Non-criminal?
Yeah. no
Yeah,
kidding.
So whatever happened with the fraudulent bank transfers, no, you ever figured out how or what, or,
Yeah, they all went away.
yeah,
That was good to catch that.
well, that was just silly that, I mean,
Yeah.
I was waiting for an email of confirmation on a border cross, brokerage confirm confirmation, and my remittance showed up, and it was RBC, and it was, what? Or no, it was Royal Bank, or no, it was RBC, Bank of Montreal, that's what it was. And mysteriously, my direct deposit was going to Bank of Montreal. Well, first of all, I don't never deal with Bank of Montreal. The town doesn't deal with Bank of Montreal, so I immediately phoned Caitlin and I said, what's this? Will you send us an email? No. So we caught that one before it got through, and then I believe Seltzer Murphy had the same.
Nope.
You?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're just becoming more frequent and closer together.
And they're getting good.
They're getting really good.
Logos are identical. Like I had, a couple today that were no brainers, but when they're sent by me. So-
Yeah.
But just trying to make sure everybody tries to stay as best as they can on their toes, so.
Same one, special areas had us do, so that really helped.
Oh,
We do a lot more training and a lot more password changes and we're meaner than we're.
When we really get upset, I just go to Kyle. He won't fix it.
Yeah.
But it's the same feedback from users there.
It is,
Useful
it's great.
information,
It is.
sometimes annoying, but
They
it's
complain about
recognized.
doing it, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've got guys that, 20 minutes, I said I get paid for it, so I don't mind.
We've completed interviews for Ruth Fortnum's position. I was very fortunate that Ruth had told me that she would stay on until we got the right person in place. There were a number of applicants. We narrowed it down to 4 interviews, and they were all very good and capable applicants. So it was kind of a hard decision. In the end, we offered the position to Katie Campbell, and she will start in September. I think she'll be a good fit, and she has some exciting ideas. And the only other thing I want to point out is the third last bullet point. I said photos have been received. I added that in a hurry, and when I went back and read it later, I didn't know what I was talking about. So those are the council photos that they came in right away, and I'd forgotten that I had them. And Kim asked if we were going to get them soon to get the hard copies done. And yeah, then that's when I remembered that happened. So that's in reference to those photos. And that's everything I have. If there's any questions.
any more questions for Lori? Public Works,
don't have anything. Brent had something come up tonight that he had to go to. He's just back from holidays. Other than that, I think everything's going fairly well. Between the guys taking holidays and stuff, we've been able to do all the basic maintenance. Did replace a sewer line last week, and I'm just doing day-to-day stuff. So we did have MCON came in about a week ago now and painted the perimeter lines around town. So that's all done. Yeah, they look really good when they're freshly done, no doubt about it. So
it's surprising because you're driving down the street going, was there yesterday? No.
They were involved in the training for the water meter system too.
yeah, how to use the new software and new tablet, so for water reads. And I think South Municipal Road is doing well, I believe.
Yeah, no dust. Only one
No.
complaint.
Speed's way out,
Speeds up. Yeah,
that's crazy.
oh, it is. You drive down there now, it's like a highway.
But the dust is down, so
Oh,
the
there's no
material
dust.
that's
No
gonna
dust.
fly
Yeah.
that by down.
I actually contacted the RCMP because it's,
Or
I've had a couple go past it,
Yeah, it's-
80K.
ice cream place there, you'd have a hard time coming out of there without somebody walking that.
And the contractors mostly. Or it doesn't matter. it's everybody, but everybody.
No, I would say. Well, the two that went by, one was a special areas truck, which I call special areas on. And the other one was an MCON Hanna. So when I phoned JP and let him know that I was going to call the RCMP if it continued, JP was very strict because the guys come in the next day and kids went by and I'm really sorry. And I thought it's 50K.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's holding up well, like I've been up and down it 2 or 3 times just to see what.
Yeah.
So what was the process that they used?
I'll let Counselor Thorough explain it.
Oh, we put down, it's an MP30, it's like a calcium product and, it's environmentally, no, it's not slimy, it's environmentally friendly and so, when it rains again, if we need to go out, we could, work it, we can do it. It'll hold up for a number of years, you know, it'll dry out and pebbles will come back, but you'll still have, very low dust. And that's what it's all about.
Whatever it is, it's good.
It's doing.
I know I talked to Ross and I think Ross said it was, they put down, I think he told me 30,000 liters
Yeah.
of this product and it's 30 cents a liter.
Yeah.
So it was about 9 or 10 grand for the product that was
Money well
laid on
spent.
there. I think so, yeah. I thought it was a good price.
Yeah, it's easy to work with.
So you
And,
say you just work it up there and rewater it, is that to rejuvenate it or?
Yeah. We gotta use water to, because, rejuvenate it, because it just like rock hard.
Yeah, well, it's good, yeah,
We've had guys try to cut it, but it's dry, and then all you end up with is a mess, because it will have dust. And if we work it after rain, smooth it out, if you, few chuck holes come in,
Okay.
and, it'll work, slows people down there, chuck holes it. It's easy to work with.
motion that council accepts the administrative report 8.01 to 8.03 as presented for information, motion. Councilor Thorough, all in favor? Carried. Red. You didn't quite fair on the forehead there. 9.01 land use bylaw.
So we basically are looking to set a date and a time for the public hearing on the land use bylaw. So we had kind of talked earlier, we had the dates of September 7th, 13th, and 14th. I didn't fill in the dates because I didn't know which date is preferred by council.
You said September 13th.
7th, 13th, and 14th. Were 3 that we had put forward. Does anybody have any issues with any of those dates? That'll be a good way to have a birthday, Councilor Pearl.
Yeah, happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
No, I have no problem with any of
Yeah, I think
I prefer not the 14th, just because I have evening meetings and I'd love to not have a
Okay.
full day. But if that works better, it's fine.
So 7, 13, and 14.
Oh, wow.
I'm open.
So do I hear the 13th? Does that seem to be?
It's
7th or 13th.
a lucky day. Let's go with the 7.
I'll go with 7.
7.
Okay. And I guess the next question is, we don't know how long this public hearing will be. Do we want to start at 9 AM? Do we
Well,
want
you
to
want the
start?
registration, there's that night, and I think it's probably in there, is it not?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 So do we want to start at 9 AM?
It's at the same, are you planning at the community center
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, I was planning community center just so
Just
there's
the registration.
Registration set up
I
at
know.
about 5.
Yeah, They're setting up early.
So can we change it to the 13th then?
Yeah.
Sorry, thanks for bringing that.
Yeah.
Up, Counselor Olson. So let's go to the 13th, and then do we want to go at 1? I have no idea.
I think you gotta go at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, let's early as
Okay.
possible.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be 1 hour long, 6 hours long. I don't know.
But can we put a limit to it?
Well, you're not,
Like,
Everybody
To
needs to get a turn that wants to.
no, but I mean, a target,
what do you mean by a target
a
for?
target for, like, say it's 9 till 1 or 9 till.
Talking with Tracy, council has an obligation to hear everyone who wishes to speak.
We can option to.
And she said she's been parts of public hearings, I think that went for 3 days.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so if you go over lunch, are you providing lunch? or-
Not, well, for council, we
Yes.
would take a recess, but we wouldn't for the public. So 9 AM seems good. I'm hoping that it's not
If those are holidays,
an all day thing, but I couldn't tell you, couldn't predict at this time, so. So 13th at 9 AM, does that work for everybody? Okay,
Maybe just send out, reminder.
everybody's put in their calendar. So the other thing separate to this is, I know I've had some discussions with some people about concerns with the land use bylaw issues. What I've told them is, and they've requested to meet with council, and I've said, no, it's a statutory public hearing, so it's quasi judicial in the fact that you don't meet with them on one-off. That will be their time to present their concerns, their changes, whatever they'd like to see with it. That's their opportunity, so.
I guess if you have any questions that you want clarified, make sure you reach out to Kim and Dave and just make sure that you're comfortable going with that.
So again, it's not a question and answer per se. It's a opportunity for someone to come and say, I think in this zone, this should be discretionary or permitted, or the setback should be different, or it shouldn't be zoned this way, or fences should be in or fences should be out. So, like I said, council we will take notes of the comments, and based on whether there's a lot of feedback or not, if there's minimal feedback, we'll probably just bring second reading to the October meeting. If there's substantial feedback, then we may need to try and find another time for council to discuss feedback prior to second reading. Because when you go to second reading, you give it second reading. If you want to make changes, then the changes have to be made by amendments. So you want to make sure you have your wording right and everything right, that because that will be what will be voted on to change.
There's my motion to council authorize public hearing bylaw 10/32/2023 to be held on September 13th at 9 PM at the county.
9 AM maybe?
9 AM, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, well, you passed my bedtime, so I won't be there. Sorry, let's back it up. The council authorized public hearing bylaw 10/32/2023 to be held on September 13th at 9 a.m. The town of Hanna Community Center to allow any persons who claim that he or she will be affected prejudicially by bylaw 10/32/2023 an opportunity to be heard by council, and further that notice of the hearing be advertised as per the requirements of the Municipal Government Act. Motion. Alter Olson. Questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Advertising plan.
So I'll just speak to this briefly, Mr. Mayor. So as you're aware, council approved an advertising plan earlier in the year when we found out the Hanna Herald was no longer issuing the print edition. That primarily showed where we would advertise, how we'd advertise, depending on what type of advertisement was needed for that particular item. Recently, we've had a new paper be established called the Harvest Sky Sentinel. It is similar to the ECA review in the fact that it's delivered to your post office. It's not a subscription based or paid. It's delivered to your in your mailbox. Lori has worked with their representatives, and they have agreed to have an agreement very similar to what we had with the Hanna Herald. So we get $365 a week. We get a full page in their paper, which Lori indicates to me it's a larger paper and print than the Herald was. So we have no contract with them, no end date, but we've agreed to move forward using that. The main change that I just wanted to bring to your attention in the advertising plan is that we are not going to be using the mail drops anymore. So basically, we will continue to honor our agreement with the ECA review. They had come in with 6 months at this rate, so till the October 11th issue. And then after that, we'll revert to when we need to use them, we will. Mail drop will be discontinued, and we will have that one page in the Harvest Sky Center. So that's kind of like the major changes that we wanted to just make sure that council was aware and approved the fact that we're not going to do the mail drop anymore.
So that means that once the ECA is done.
Yeah.
Then you'll go to Harvest Sky.
We're gonna
Overlapping.
overlap. We're gonna overlap in the interim because we're getting rid of the mail drop.
Right, okay. Thank you.
This is the first edition that we've submitted. Before that, it was content from our mail drop. So this would be in the mailboxes tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow also.
Yeah, it does look good.
So yeah, we just wanted council to be aware of that. So I'll make sure we're good. If you wanted to include the mail drop, that's certainly something we could continue, but there is a cost and time to do that. And we felt that now with the paper is being in the mailbox, it's there already, and probably we'll get better coverage, especially once people get to know Harvest Sky. I know that kind of threw a few people off the first day I was in the post office. So we've got a Hanna people. What? Well, this is Hanna because this is Harvest Sky Sentinel. It doesn't say the Hanna Sentinel. So, but I think it's catching on. So, and they seem to be doing, when I look at I had a copy of this week's paper PDF, and it looks like they're getting more advertising, more local Hanna advertising in the paper. And I think they're really focusing on building up their client base. So.
Maybe people realize that we need a. Or like having a.
Yeah. Or missed that opportunity. How do I get the word out? So.
Right, Gary?
Then we should really be at the forefront of supporting this.
Oh, sure.
So I'm thrilled that you've come up with an agreement.
Yeah, no, they were, Lori negotiated with them, and they were willing to match the price that Hanna Herald was charging, so, which we thought was always a very good deal versus a one-off ad, so.
Well, and by having it there every week.
Yeah.
You know what it'll be.
Yeah.
It's not like you gotta guess or under.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Motion to council approve the revised advertising plan dated August 2023. Council Bowden. All in favor? Very. Council reports.
I just went to the regular meeting here, haven't done anything with our group until September.
I'm in the same boat. I do have a library board meeting coming up next week. That'll be interesting. And a marigold at the end of the month. But I haven't had it. I've been grandmothering it, so it's been good.
Had a busy couple of days with the provincial ball tournament, and we have the old-time jamboree. And the day before that, I was in Red Deer at the Red Deer, their water treatment facility. It's pretty big facility. And some of the challenges that they have is similar to what we have, as far as usage and storage and they've actually gone into a system now where their backwash, they actually take the solids out of their backwash and haul them to landfill. So it's kind of an interesting, it's a brand new facility, like is in probably 6 or 8 months old. They have a lot of challenges as far as solids because their water retention pond is the river. So unlike us, where we have the one down by the power plant, they have some huge challenges in the spring of the year when the solids are way up. They have, it was interesting because immediately I'm thinking about fish. So they have a fish trap actually in their water inlet, and they have to release the fish back out. And it was actually a pretty good tour. It was kind of neat to see the similarities with ours and the differences with ours. And they run theirs, they have theirs manned 24 hours a day. So they have 2 guys on duty at all times. And when they manage some of their peaks and valleys is through storage. So they've got 5 basically lift stations, like freshwater lift stations throughout the city. And they maintain levels with them, and they can actually put out 36,000 liters per second if they have to.
How did they get that funded? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
There would be, generally, there's some both federal and provincial grant programs through there. I know in Alberta, it's the water wastewater program. So there is some funding generally there. Not generally 100%, but
Would have been nice to see something that new.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that was your mugs,
that
your
was
Red
a
Deer
lot.
River Municipal Users Group.
Yeah, and same thing, they're working with a company called Water Smart on forecasting. And so basically what they do is they take the flow of the Red Deer River, because that's what we have to work with. And so they've stacked up, they have information now from, I believe it's 23 years. So they've stacked the worst 23 years back to back to back. And it is sustainable, providing you don't get into a year 4. There's lots of talk and ideas with the Watershed Alliance, which is a different group from what we are. My thought process was to, make one water users group. There's several people that sit on both boards, but right now we're letting a lot of water go into Saskatchewan, more than we need to, like probably 3 times as much as we need to. So there was some talk, after the special areas with their irrigation for bylaws in Acadia, the MD of Acadia. So there's some talk there as far as, how it's gonna look like and what it's gonna do. Some really interesting things as far as evaporation, like people, make a great big pond. Well, the evaporation rate and I believe it was like 14% on surface. So the deeper you can make it, the better. And optimal pumping times and places and things like that. Back when Minister Horner was in charge of agriculture and irrigation, we actually talked to him a little bit about building another Dixon Dam downstream here somewhere. But as with anything, that would be years in research and studies and so on and so forth. So. And other than that, it's been relatively quiet. Few people dropping in and voicing their concerns about things. The nickelback thing, as I said, I've done one CBC radio, one CBC media, and now post media. So it's interesting. Anything else, Counselor? Well, is there anything exciting going on?
No, just, well, I do, but it's not related to council. And I don't think anybody wants to hear about it, but that's with the roundhouse, of course, but actually, yeah, we're bringing lots of people in. We've had two big weddings,
See, I've been following your posts.
the concert,
Barbecue.
no. We have a barbecue coming up.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing
Conjunction.
a trade show with the rodeo and stuff, and we've got a few plans there. We got a photography group come, and I asked the organizers how they heard about us, and they said Atlas Coal Mine. And so I support them and they support us, and so there are 17 photographers, one from Ireland, most from BC, a few local from then one local and Alberta, seven models and of all sorts, and the two organizers from Prince Edward Island. Cool. They come out to Drum a few times. They go all across Canada, and they said that our venue was one of the best they've been to, because our light changes and we have a bunch of different different areas and stuff. So that was very flattering to hear. But I'm excited about the people coming for the weddings and the staying in our hotels, eating in our restaurants and things like that. So that has been very is kind of what our goal is and such. So we have a few things on the go with that too.
Okay, can you motion to accept Counselor report?
You know what I'm saying?
You already said that, yeah.
I got attended a couple of the weddings. I was very, beautiful weddings, beautiful settings, and, just.
Well, it's unique, it's unique.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that you can't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to council accept council report for information. Council Bowden, all in favor? Carried. Anything in the correspondence that jumps out?
No, the only thing just for council's info, so I think you're aware that Canadian Badlands.
I wasn't aware. That's
Okay, we used to-
that's so sad.
We used to be a member of Canadian Badlands for many years, that probably a couple of years ago, they started to unravel, for a lack of a better word. And wasn't sure how they were gonna proceed in terms of they were such a big area with such different, unique municipalities who had different desires and wishes, that they're having trouble meeting the mandates. And so they have entered obviously into dispersal and closing their corporate accounts. So we got our check for $829. I don't know a lot about it, but I know Mark's been working with kind of an offshoot of Canadian Badlands on a much smaller regional scale, trying to get something going on the tourism side there. So I'm working with Travel Alberta, so.
Well, we still see the signs up.
Yeah, well, most municipalities were members, so a lot of them had a member of Canadian Badlands on their signs.
That's
So.
too bad.
And Travel Alberta was quite actively involved with them as well at the time. I attended many of the meetings and such, and the information was very good. This is unfortunate.
Yeah, so other than that, I don't have too much to identify. I did get the email, so our application with Concert and Oyen and the special areas under the rural renewal stream has been approved. So I'm not sure what the next steps are with that group. I have to reach out to Wanda and go from there, but the application's been approved, so that's on the immigration program, so.
International.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all the correspondence that came in this month, so.
Most of the council accept correspondence and items 12.01 and 12.04 for information. Councilor Cole, all in favor? Carried. Nothing for closed session. Motion to adjourn, sorry, no motion is adjourned, but it's 7:06.
This is the fastest